Well, we got the man with the answer with us right here. Dr. Timothy Quinn of Quinn Healthcare is going to shed some light on COVID immunity. Dr. Quinn, good afternoon, and thank you very much for seeing us. How are you doing today?
Hey, thank you for having me. And look, that is true. There is some new research out. This is actually the most extensive study thus far. It was conducted in Iceland in over 30,000 people. And basically what they discovered was the antibodies that are produced by the human body once a person is infected and recover, they last all the way up to 4 months. Now, the 4-month mark that they noted, that doesn't mean it's only 4 months. It's just that the study has been going on long enough so that they could draw a 4-month conclusion. But hopefully a year from now, they'll be able to conclude that the antibodies will continue to maintain in our plasma for up to a year or more. So this is very encouraging because the earlier studies, they were suggesting that the antibodies don't last very long. Even some were saying for some people, they didn't even make a lot of antibodies, but now it's being confirmed that we do produce the antibodies and they last.
Put this in kind of perspective. Is it unusual for, once you get a viral disease, can you catch it again? I mean, I thought once you got it.
That is possible. And I know what you're doing, you're referring to the reinfection case. And I've read up on this, and a lot of it is the fact that what they're theorizing is it could have been a different strain of coronavirus. Now, remember, with the flu, you get a flu shot every year, but usually the ingredients of the flu shot or the flu vaccination has the most common 3 strains from the previous year. So basically what we're learning, we already knew that viruses, they're very prevalent, but they also have different strains.
Oh, okay. So this is like you can catch a cold and then catch a cold again, and then the next year catch a cold. So you can catch viral diseases over, but it's not necessarily the same viral as kind of a mutant. Is that kind of what you're saying?
Yes, it's a different strain of the same virus. So coronavirus, it'll come in different strains, just like the flu or the other viruses out there. But the good news is from this research, at least if we get infected or if the vaccine is finished, once you get the vaccine, if you get the antibodies, you will get some protection, and it's showing that this protection can be long-term. Once we really get our thumb on this virus, the antibodies that they'll produce will have different strains of the most common coronavirus, just like the flu vaccine. So when you go get your coronavirus vaccine, it'll have the most common strains, and that'll protect you not only from one strain of coronavirus, but other strains. But the good news is you will have some protection. So this is very, very encouraging. Basically, the Harvard University independent experts, along with the United States National Institute of Health, wrote that this is really, really big. And everybody in the scientific community is very excited because it's very encouraging.
Oh, okay. So it's not exactly a shock then that somebody got reinfected. This isn't the end of the world saying, oh my gosh, everybody's got to go through this again. But this is almost to be expected then.
Right, because like I said, when you have a virus, normally there are different strains of the virus, just like the flu, and I use that as an example. But the good news is once we get the vaccine developed and distributed, what will happen is most likely the vaccine will contain different strains from different strains of the coronavirus. And that way, not only will you be protected from one strain of coronavirus, but other strains, just like the flu. It's just that you'll probably have to go every year. But the good news is this research is showing that you will have some protection that's long lasting. And like I said, the earlier studies, they were theorizing that you produce antibodies, but they don't last very long. But that was because these were very short studies that were like 28 days, but this study goes out all the way 4 months, and people are still having these antibodies. So as I said, this research is showing that you produce antibodies, they maintain, and hopefully a year from now, as we can follow those 30,000 patients, they'll still have antibodies, which will be very encouraging because that means that the protection is long lasting, and that's what we need.
Thank you, Dr. Quinn. Every time we talk to you, we have a collective sigh of relief because you set us straight. Appreciate you, buddy. We'll talk to you later on.
Yes, sir.
Everybody knows the risks now. Let them make their own adult decisions about whether or not to put themselves in those positions.
Well, coming up next on 12 News at 4, a Mississippi congressman heads a campaign to encourage people to quit wearing their masks. Hear what Roger Foster has to say and what the governor has to say in response to that. That's coming up next.
And we got to take a break, but first, here's a view of the Mississippi River at the bridges in Vicksburg. The Mississippi at Vicksburg and Natchez are both over 20 feet below flood stage. The forecast calls for about 3-foot rise over the next 7 days there. Thank you for watching 12 News. We're back in just a moment.